What is up, gaming world? We are back for another Pause Reacts. This time we're reacting to the Sony press conference that just ended here at E3 2016. I'm Ben Boyce. That's Brent. That's Bender. And that's Viper Strike himself, Frankie Ayler. Gentlemen, say hello.
Hello.
Hey guys.
What's up?
Have you guys had a chance to catch your breath? Because we just watched a tour de force by Sony Computer Entertainment or Sony Computer Interactive, whatever the hell they're called now. My gosh, they put pedal to the metal with this press conference, and they delivered a doozy for the ages here. You know, Sony along with Microsoft, they kind of showed you how to do a press conference this week, and the two old dogs came out swinging. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Sony packed so much stuff into this hour show. An hour show. When was the last time Sony ran an hour press conference?
It's
I
been a
can't
minute.
remember. I
They
can't remember.
started on time too.
Started on time. They
Yeah.
started on time when nobody else did this week, which is interesting. They're the pretty much the only ones that started on time. Microsoft did as well, but they came right out the gate swinging. First of all, you got this badass orchestra set up front. I mean, this is an incredibly regal setup here in the Shrine Auditorium. You got this full orchestra. There's a conductor out here, and he starts playing this song. It's a really cool sounding song, and everybody's like, "Man, that sure sounds like God of War." This is big, epic, sweeping score, like really awesome song. The song ends. We cut directly into God of War 4, whatever this is going to be called. But God of War 4 gameplay, live gameplay demo on the stage. There's a gentleman sitting there playing the game as we're watching this, and we see a nice little chunk of this game. We see Kratos, who we're assuming is Kratos. Bender, I know you're predicting that wasn't going to be his name, but I'm going to guess that's his name.
I'm not as convinced now after seeing that.
He looks very Kratoian. So we've got Kratos and his son. They're going on like a hunting expedition. They're looking for this deer. They're moving through the environment. His son scares the deer away. They've got to move further along, and then they encounter a band of trolls. One of these trolls is quite big, and then we start to see some of the action that God of War 4 is going to offer. Some of the brutal action that this series is known for. Looks awesome. Kratos slays this troll in grand fashion. They move a little further along, and then they come to like the big thing that encounters them at the end. So they just a big epic fight with that thing. Eventually they slay the deer. There's like a nice little this human like emotional moment with
Yeah.
Kratos at the end there, which was cool. A little more depth to the character, looks like. But some of the other things we noticed in here, Valhalla mentioned, trolls mentioned. This is definitely a Norse setting, so no doubt about it. Now this is going to be a Norse flavored God of War. Game just looks beautiful right now. I mean, no shock with God of War. Um, just a sweet demo, man. Just intense gameplay. I loved it. Frankie, what'd you think, bud?
Yeah, I was mostly surprised that they seemingly are doing away with that fixed camera, and
Mhm.
this seems to be playing like a more traditional third person action game.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that's some brutal stuff we saw, man.
Hmm.
It was strange seeing him just swinging an axe around, and he didn't have his signature blades of chaos on him, so that was a little bit different. But this is a very different Kratos, baby.
Yeah.
That's sweet. He has sweet beard though.
Dude,
Yeah.
that beard was badass.
Dude, if you grow your beard back, shave your head, and paint a red stripe on it, you're totally there. So I think you should do that. Better, I know you're not a God of War fan, but it's a beautiful looking game, right?
Yeah, very impressive visually. It looked really cool.
Mhm.
Definitely a lot of action. I don't know anything about the God of War story, but it seems like it seems like it is Kratos on in contradiction to what I had predicted, but but it seems like they're continuing his story and going to bring it into some sort of Norse mythology
Mhm.
direction written into the story. So, yeah, it looked really really cool. Just visually, it was very pretty.
There's so many things they can do with Norse mythology now. They've mined Greek mythology for 5 games, and now they can get into the Norse book. There's the 9 realms. There's the frost giants. There's Niflheim, the dark elves. I mean, there's Asgard. And there's so many cool things they can do with a Norse setting. So I'm really pumped to see some of the stuff they bring out in this game. I mean, Brent, this was a hell of a way to start the show. All right. I mean, What better bang could you go with than a new God of War?
Dude, I'm still trying to get my bearings from this show. I mean, seriously, when we first started opening up, when we first opened up, it almost looked like a setting from Horizon. That's what I thought we were starting up. I was like, oh, cool, somebody's kid, and we'll start with Horizon. And then as soon as my man walks into the light, I was just like, oh my God, seriously, God of War right now? And from what we saw, like Frankie said, I like the camera angle we're going with here, like a third-person action adventure game. But you know what? The thing that stuck out to me the most was just like you mentioned, that this human, this almost this father figure type of character that Kratos has morphed into, assuming this is Kratos. But he's raising this kid, he's teaching him how to hunt, and like you said, there's that moment where he reaches over to kind of like congrats his son, but he pulls away, like he's just, you can see there's kind of a conflict within for him. But it's an interesting take, it's an interesting different approach to Kratos as a character. But man, that combat against that giant troll was fantastic. Dude, I mean, it's all all the tropes you find in a God of War game, and this did not disappoint. I just wasn't expecting it. I know it was one of your predictions, but man, to lead off the show, woo, man, I'm on board with God of War, baby.
Yeah, and he's throwing that axe and he's leaping through the air. He's like beating this guy on standing on just the big epic God of War stuff that we're used to. Man, this thing looks sweet, man. I can't wait to see this in action when it eventually comes out. We don't have a release date or anything for it yet. No type of a timetable on it, but yeah, that was a sweet demo. Really cool that they did gameplay live on the stage too. And we saw that at the Microsoft conference. We saw people on stage playing games, and we saw it here at the Sony conference too. Like people actually playing these games, getting to see actual gameplay of these games, which is sweet.
Right.
From there, Sony Bend reared its head once again after many, many years. They gave us a little trailer for the new game they're working on. It will not be called Dead Don't Ride. It will be called Days Gone. So we see elements of the the biker angle that we're used to. This appears to be some type of a post-apocalyptic setting. There's some creatures involved in this as well. We'll get into Days Gone a little bit more at the end once we dive into the gameplay trailer that they closed out the show with. But nice to see Bend back on the scene. And then after year after year after year after year, after people just believing that this thing was real, just refusing to let it go, The Last Guardian finally has a release date. And it's coming out this October, the 25th. Yeah. Got a new trailer for it. I think the game looks sweet. We saw another Trico in this trailer too. There was like a dark Trico. So I don't doubt that there's going to be some cool storytelling going on in this game. It's going to be some very cool puzzles. Bender, I mean, what are you feeling, man? We got a date for The Last Guardian now. I mean, you got to be excited about this.
I'm super excited. Yeah, I can't wait to play it. I've been waiting for this game for so long. And yeah, it's just been a very long, drawn out. Many people gave up hope over the years, but I never did. I knew it was going to come out at some point, and it's finally here. So I'm
E3 prediction, 5 years running, finally came.
Yes, exactly. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing The Last Guardian.
Yeah, Frankie, what do you think now that The Last Guardian has a release date, man? I tell you what, man, that trailer looked beautiful. It looks like this is going to be a really cool looking game.
Yeah, this is kind of what I wanted to see last year. I just wanted a quick trailer, just a quick, little mini showcase of the game. It's coming awesome. I was kind of hoping for maybe a September date though. I mean, October is already just jam packed. So I'm a little bit bummed about that, but this game deserves the time to play it, so I'm gonna find it somewhere. But man, that game is looking great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely a lot of stuff that comes out in October, but I think The Last Guardian is one of those games that deserves to have time made for it. And Brent, you were mentioning something before we hopped on here. There was just something about this trailer where it just looked a little bit more. I don't know, like just looked like more like something you'd want to get into. This was a great trailer for the game. We got the October 25th release. Now, what are you feeling about The Last Guardian?
Dude, I've seen in multiple trailers of this game. I've seen some gameplay. Yeah. The date is the only thing that really I was just like, yes. I mean, I was excited to see the footage, but finally we have a date. We know when this thing is coming out. Mm-hmm. And, I'm excited to play it. It looked beautiful. It was running great on the stream. I don't know if I saw a higher frame rate. I mean, it really looked like it was running well. So I'm excited to play it. I'm just like I said, man. You can only hear so much about a game, and after a while, you kind of lose interest. But even for a game even for No Man's Sky, for that matter, I mean, we've heard a lot about it, and you kind of lose interest. But then you finally get a date, and you're like, okay, you're just reinvigorated. You're ready to go, and that's how I feel about The Last Guardian. I mean, I've seen enough. I know it's been in existence for a long time. I know that in October we will finally play this game, and that is what I'm most excited about.
Yeah. And I think Frankie hit it on the head there. I mean, they played this perfectly. It's like we've seen enough demos of the game. We've heard about the game for the last 10 years. Show us the quick trailer, hit us with the release date. We can move on with our lives and get excited about it. So, perfectly done there. And then we come to what was arguably the sweetest demo on this show of sweet demos. But this Horizon demo
Oh man,
was really cool, man. I mean, we saw hunting, we saw some of the different environments, some of the different creatures that you're gonna come into. We saw the slow motion mechanic as you go through the weapon wheel. We saw taming mechanical bulls, harvesting resources, these cool robo dinosaurs that are. I mean, just a super awesome trailer. Looks like it's running awesome. The action was awesome. Bender, what'd you think about this Horizon trailer, dude? Or
Yeah,
gameplay demo?
it looked amazing, man.
Yeah.
I was already excited for this game. This just ramped it up even more. Just can't wait to play this game. Just the combat and the gameplay just looks really really cool, very unique, and just she's like collecting materials and making traps out of them. You can like
Hmm.
craft things and
Yeah.
come up with new weapons and abilities and stuff. So it's a really 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 impressive gameplay demo. So I'm super excited for this game.
Yeah, and she's like doing all this stuff on the fly, like as she's fighting these things. And
Hmm.
I really like this setting, this kind of prehistory meets futuristic technology. I think this is a really cool world that they're building here. Frankie, we saw this. We got a glimpse of this map too. It looks gigantic in this world, so it looks like this is going to be quite the open world experience. Um, this is a game they've demoed several times, but I don't know. Every time you see this game, it just gets better and better. Like this was the best demo they've showed yet, I thought, and I just think this game looks sweet, man. What do you think about the latest Horizon footage?
That game looked impressive when it was first announced last year. This year, man, just every time I see that game in action, I'm continuously wowed.
Hmm.
It just everything, just the amazing landscape they've built, these weird mechanical dinosaur enemies you're fighting. And it even looked like at the end there when she was fighting that last one, which you can hop on the back of, whatever animal you hack and start riding around on.
Hmm.
You can do battle from the back of him, which is awesome.
Yeah, that was
But
sweet.
it looks like you can also have like elemental weapons. Like I remember
Hmm.
when she did her focus on him and to find his weak spot. Oh well, I need a fire arrow or a fire weapon to take him down. And so I'm gonna be really curious to see if we see more elemental type of weapons come into play here. I think that'd
Hmm.
be awesome. But just like watching her use all the tools at her disposal to take these things down, like this game just looks insanely fun. I don't know what the point of all of it is, but looks like a good time regardless, right?
Yeah, throw some robotic dinosaurs, some elemental arrows. I'm game. Give a
everybody
crap what
wins.
it's about. Yeah,
Everybody wins.
Brent, how many days we got till February 28th?
Too many.
Nailed it.
What'd you think of this? What'd you think of this gameplay demo, bud?
Like you said, man, every time we see this game in action, the more we see, it just looks better and better. I tell you what stood out to me, and I'm really interested in it, is the way you can have the conversations with characters, how you can choose certain things to say. I'm
Yeah.
kind of curious now. I mean, like I said, Killzone isn't exactly a strongly written story. It's not,
Hmm.
I don't think Guerrilla Games is renowned for their pen skills. But I wonder, I'm curious to what kind of narrative is in play here, how deep this story is. I mean, like I said, there was a couple conversations she was having with some of these NPCs where she could kind of influence the conversation. And I'm curious to see how deep that runs in this game because, I mean, obviously it's an epic game. We saw the map, the combat looks crazy, there's crafting involved. If there's a deep story here, this almost when I was watching it, obviously it's not the same thing, but I got a Skyrim vibe from watching this game in action. I mean, I really did with everything that's in play, the combat, the story, the area to explore. I mean, there's a lot of depth here, and I'm really excited to see what this story is going to be like. I mean, we've got an awesome protagonist, obviously. We see all these creatures she's going to do battle with. I mean, this game has a ton of potential.
Yeah. And you mentioned this the story there, and Gorilla they've brought on writers for this game, if I'm not mistaken. And
Hmm.
Frankie, maybe you can back me up on this, but they've brought in like writers from The Witcher and some people that have worked on some of these big epic open world RPG games to come in and help work on Horizon, as far as I remember reading. So,
Yeah.
when they knew they wanted to make one of these games, they were bringing in the talent to support that.
Yeah, yeah. I even we were watching this gameplay the gameplay clip. I think one of the comments I put up was, "Man, I really hope this game's not as massive as The Witcher 3."
Yeah, I'm. I hope so too. 'Cause I don't know if I'll ever be able to play The Witcher 3, but I really want to play Horizon. The countdown to late February just got a little bit longer with that demo there. And from Horizon Zero Dawn, pedal still to the floor. We get into Detroit. Man, this was an awesome demo. I thought really really cool. This game looks stunning and just a really fantastic looking game. We saw this brand new, really cool gameplay demo. We met this kind of android hostage negotiator character, and we saw how your choices can affect the storyline in a myriad of different ways.
Yes.
I mean, we saw like 5, 6, 7 different scenarios that could play out based on the decisions you make in this one little scene here, where this guy is standing on the edge of a building, threatening this little girl's life. Anything from both of them dying to you dying to the girl dying. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that could play out based on the decisions you make. And man, Quantic has something really interesting on their hands here. Bender, you mentioned that Kara wasn't in the demo, and we didn't see her, but it's a Quantic hallmark to have these multiple main characters in these games and have
All right.
multiple storylines going on at once. So I think this is just another character's perspective that we're going to see in this world, and I think this world looks incredibly interesting. Bender, what do you think of what we saw here, man? This is a really cool sci-fi looking game.
Yeah, it does look really, really cool. I was very impressed with the way they presented it and the way they showed the way, how it can play out differently. Some
Hmm.
very intense storytelling going on,
Yeah,
obviously.
really intense. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. It made me want to go back because I've never played any of their games. I haven't played Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls, so it made me want to go back and try those games out in preparation for this one. But this one looked really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Frankie, what do you think, man? Just a stunning looking title.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just even the amount of choices that seem like are going to be in this game, this one's going to have a lot of replayability.
Oh yeah.
Um, and just like listening to the humans interact with the androids, and
Hmm.
I'm really curious to actually hear more about what just everything about this game, like what the story's about, what's going on, like what's this animosity between the humans and the androids.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff going on that and even like you mentioned, like all these branching options you have, like yeah, like you said, there were like 6 or 7 different ways that one scene could have played out. Like
Hmm.
how many are there going to be a lot of those?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
is this just like a small sample of like one piece of this game?
Yeah. And you got to imagine there's a bunch of those different scenarios, and the way that scenario plays out impacts the way the rest of the scenarios in the game are going to play out. So it's just a big tapestry that you have to play with here. Brent, the other cool thing about Detroit, it's in our hometown, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we got this sci-fi game set in our hometown here in Detroit. That just makes this game all the more cooler, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's always cool to have a game that takes place like near you or in an area
Hmm.
that you live in. I mean, obviously, I like Deus Ex,
Yeah,
Human Revolution, because
Human
that took
Revolution.
place in Detroit. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I can relate to some of these characters that are walking around. But no, I mean this looks fantastic. I mean, I loved Heavy Rain. I never did play Beyond Two Souls. I haven't. I picked up the remastered version, but I still haven't played it. But I really liked Heavy Rain. And this game just looks fantastic. I mean, like you guys said, there's so many different outcomes, and I think that's important for these single player games. I mean, because we're to the point now where these games are really expensive, and we're always talking about, is there enough to play if it's single player only? And if you have all these different outcomes, I gotta believe there's gonna be a ton of different endings, which is replayability, and that's really good stuff. So I like to see all these branching outcomes and how you can influence them by what you say, by what you do, all your actions. David Cage and Quantic, they know what they're doing, and this looks like it's going to be like their next big title out of their studio, and a hell of a good one too.
Yeah, And this is an extremely narrative focused game, obviously, and it helps to have a subject matter that's really interesting. And it seems like they've got that with this sci-fi setting, with the way the androids interact with the humans. This seems like a very interesting world. So, really interested to hop into Detroit and see what that's all about. Really good looking game. Then we got quite possibly the most surprising reveal of this show. We see a little snippet here before the trailer starts and says before Kitchen, the infamous now PlayStation VR horror demo that has terrified people for weeks and months here on the PlayStation VR circuit. So we've heard a lot about Kitchen was never meant to be a game as far as we know. It was always meant to be this horror demo to kind of show some of the capabilities what you can do with VR. And we've heard about what goes on in that demo and some of the terrifying things that are a part of that. So they introduced the before Kitchen thing. Then we get into this demo and we see this very very eerie PT like vibe as we're going through these scenes. It's a very dark house. You're walking down a dark staircase. There's no lights on, and just you got roaches crawling on it. I mean, this is all happening in VR too. So I'm just trying to imagine looking down and seeing a roach crawling on my VR hand. I'm not sure how I would feel about that, but but so we see some of the terrifying stuff that goes on in this game. And then at the very end of this trailer, we see VII in red letters, and then it stretches out to reveal Resident Evil 7
Oh,
coming out January 27th, 2017, playable from beginning to end in PlayStation VR as a VR experience. Um, Frankie, talk to me about this Resident Evil 7 reveal, man.
I had goosebumps at the end of that thing. That was extremely eerie, like watching him make his way through the house. I was not expecting this to be a Resident Evil 7 reveal. I literally I had no idea.
No,
So
me neither.
it's very obvious that whoever said they're going back to their horror roots weren't wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was extremely intense, and I remember seeing like a VR experience, and I was just sitting here
hmm
thinking, my God, if I get a VR headset and play this thing, I'm probably gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah. Dude, I was writing that in the blog. I was like, I don't even know if I can play this game. I'm not even sure I would survive. So,
Literally.
yeah, like literally. Bender, you ready to be a horror fan after that demo?
No, 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 no. No. I could barely even watch the trailer. There's no way I would be able to play that game.
Dude, and Brent, they did the PT mic drop thing too at the end. They're like, there's a demo playable tonight.
yes,
So they're,
yes.
they're putting a demo up on the PlayStation Store for Resident Evil 7. Obviously, it won't be the VR experience,
hmm
but we'll be able to see kind of what Resident Evil 7 is inching towards, what this experience is going to be like. And this release date is pretty quick, man. January 27th. I mean, we're only
Yep.
6 months away from this.
Yep.
So, what are your thoughts, man? As our resident horror fanatic.
I'm actually really excited for this. I mean, I loved PT. I loved wearing, the idea of wearing a headset and playing this game and getting lost in this horror house. Just the atmosphere. I mean, if you listen to the sound from that trailer, I imagine wearing the headset, being in this house with that sound. Unbelievable. I cannot wait.
Stream it.
Yeah.
Put the headset on, stream it.
Yeah.
That's the one you got to set up a camera. You got to stream what's you got to have like a camera on you as well as the game. Like you got to that's going to be an intense experience, man.
Hell yeah, it is.
So at this point, I don't even think we're halfway into the conference yet. Everything we've talked about has happened within the first like 20-30 minutes of the show, which is incredible. From there, then we get a quick little mention, hey, we got a release date for PlayStation VR. October 13th. We have an official release date of when PlayStation VR is going to come out. Of course, it's going to be $3.99. It'll be $4.99 for the Founders Pack. We learned that there will be 50 games available for PlayStation VR by the end of the year, which is a nice sizable chunk. And I'm assuming they include games that have a VR experience built into them as well. Games that are, not necessarily meant to be a VR only experience are probably included in this 50 game amount. Not 100% sure on that. That would be my guess because 50 games seems like a lot between October and the end of December for VR. Then we got into this VR montage, which gave us quick like 2-minute trailers of a series of very cool looking games for VR that are coming out in the near future here. Starting first and foremost with Farpoint. This basically looks like a AAA first person shooter, sci-fi shooter in VR. this giant menacing spider creature. Now, once again, if that thing is coming at me in a virtual reality setting, I seriously don't know how I'm gonna react. I mean, I might just start pissing all over the floor. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it'll be interesting to see. Um, Frankie, what'd you think about the Farpoint?
It looked interesting. Like you said, it looks like a AAA first person shooter experience of
Mhm.
VR. I'll be curious to see more about that one. That definitely piqued my interest.
Hmm. Bender with
We're back. Sorry
we're
about
back now.
that. Yep, we're
Back.
back.
Okay. So when we last left or were disconnected, we were discussing PlayStation VR. Bender, just want to get your thoughts on Farpoint as a VR experience. Is this something you might want to hop into?
I think so. Yeah, it looks like a really cool thing. I love sci-fi. Um, I think it'd be a cool experience. It looked like a AAA type experience. Shooting aliens is always fun, and even though that huge spider thing looked creepy, I
It's
think
like
it was
spitting
still,
blood at you and stuff. Too. It's
yeah,
like, geez, dude, it's like, come on.
yeah. It still looked like a very interesting thing. So I'd love to learn more about that one.
Yeah. Brent, this is one of the things we've been talking about, man. Like a
Mhm.
AAA VR experience. I mean, this is some of the things we've been asking for.
Yep.
This is what this game looks like. It's a first person shooter by all accounts. So let me know what you thought of Farpoint, man, and also what do you think about October 13th as the PlayStation VR release date?
First of all, Farpoint is a game that I was really a type of game we were really going to get with PlayStation VR. I mean, I know we've seen a lot of good stuff and we've seen some promising games. This one stands out to me. This one, it looks extremely promising. It almost looks like a Mass Effect first-person shooter where you're on this planet, you're going around, you got these sci-fi weapons, but it's a first-person shooter for PlayStation VR. And I mean, obviously shooters are a big thing, and this is, adds an exploration element to it. It looks awesome. Like, I'm actually really excited to check out that game. But October 13th, you know, I'm going broke this fall, dude. I mean, October 13th, we've got that. I've got the Battlefield Collector's Edition 2 weeks later. And then I think, isn't Gears of War 4, like, somewhere in October?
Yeah,
Beginning.
it's like 2 days before, isn't it?
Yeah,
October
good.
11th.
Yeah, there's that. I
Yeah.
didn't buy the big Collector's Edition. I told you guys I didn't. But I bought the medium one, the middle range one, so I can get the Steelbook. But yeah, this is just. But I think that's good time. I'm glad it's the beginning of October and not later October. I think October 13th is a pretty strong date right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm not going to get served papers in October for for some of the stuff I'm going to have to buy. So it's man,
Dude.
it's going to be rough.
Let's run this by the viewers real quick. Okay, Boyce is married, and she's obviously very accepting. I mean, if you look at all the stuff behind him, in a matter of like a month, he's going to have Final Fantasy 15 Collector's Edition show up. He's going to have PlayStation VR show up, and then he's going to have Battlefield Collector's Edition show up. You do the math. Boyce is going to need a place to live towards somewhere around the holidays. So if you guys got room, guys or girls have a spare room, Boyce will pay. Obviously, he's got the money because he's buying all that crap.
Just tell your cat to move over, man, and just don't drop too many bombs in that litter box. I'm gonna need a spot to stay.
Yeah, she's bad.
From Farpoint, we then we saw Criterion, which we talked about on the EA show. We heard their name mentioned during the Star Wars segment. We eventually found out they were working on a VR experience. They're working on the Battlefront PlayStation VR experience. This is an exclusive Star Wars experience, and man, you can jump into an X-wing and fly around and shoot things in VR. And Criterion's making it. Frankie, does it get any better than this? I mean, this is basically all you need from a VR game.
I was concerned once I found out that the Criterion thing was a Battlefront thing.
Mhm.
I was not expecting them to send us into space in X-wing. I don't know why it wasn't. But
I mean, it makes sense now when you think about it.
yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you think of that? That's the most obvious thing, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I I actually really want to play that too now. So
Mhm.
October sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, Bender, this is like one of the things VR is made for, to live out your Star Wars fantasies. So how pumped are you to step into the cockpit of an X-wing and fly around in a Criterion developed Star Wars game?
Super pumped. Yeah, that's going to be sweet. If it's anything like games like Rogue Squadron or like I always think back to the old X-wing PC game.
Yeah, X-wing versus
Yeah.
TIE Fighter.
I love those games. So I just want to, I think that'll be awesome. I don't know if they'll do like space battle type thing or if it's going to be in atmosphere type stuff like the current Battlefront stuff. But either way, no matter what it is, it's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Dude, Brent, we know that Battlefront, as it is right now, focuses on the original trilogy. So are we gonna get a trench run here? Are we gonna
Dude,
get a VR trench run from Criterion?
it's like I don't know. I mean,
You gotta pull the visor down and use the force to drop the.
stop it. This would like seriously just be like a childhood dream come true. If I can put on that damn headset with LucasArts sound blasting through my speakers and I'm diving down into a trench run, I'm gonna drop dead during that stream. My heart will explode. Like I seriously, I'll just be sitting there and I'll just feel it, like my soul leaving my body, going, "You've done everything you needed to do. Bucket list is gone. You ran a trench run. You're good to go." Dude, that looks. I mean, I would love to see it. I mean, even if there's no trench run, space battles in VR is pretty much all I need.
Yeah, dude, just imagine that. Picture this. You're going down. You're in the trench. You're making your way down there. You got TIE fighters coming up behind you. Darth Vader's in one of them. He's tailing you down the trench run here, and then you see Han come through in the Millennium Falcon, takes out the TIE fighters, gives you a chance to blow the Death Star and fly away as a superhero. I mean, how sweet would that be?
The only thing that would be better is give me mods so I can put Porkins next to me from Family Guy in the ship so I can look at him when he crashes. I think that'd be fantastic.
I'm sure they're hard at work on that as we speak. So we're all pumped about the possibilities of a Criterion VR experience, and then, boy,
Here you go, boys. Here you go, boys.
I tell you what, man. Batman Arkham VR was introduced with the Joker himself, Mark Hamill, giving this cool little soliloquy about Batman and putting on the mask, and they unveiled this as a Rocksteady Batman VR experience to drop this October 2016 for the PlayStation VR exclusively. I'll tell you what, man. If I can come down here and I can put on a headset and be Batman, I may never go upstairs again. I mean, I'm probably gonna get divorced. I mean, it's probably gonna happen. I'm gonna be down here. I'm gonna be like, but I gotta stop the Joker. This guy's robbing a bank. I have a duty to protect Gotham. I might just lose my mind.
And here's what's gonna happen: if you say that to your wife, this is gonna be her reaction. She's gonna look at you like this. Come pick up my crazy ass husband.
Yeah. When I'm going into my son's playroom asking him if I can borrow a cape. Like, hey, wait, you got something that's a little bit longer?
Dad, get a life.
Yeah. Ooh, are those gloves? Can I borrow those? And then yeah, so I have no idea what this is. No idea what this experience is going to be like. But with the Joker himself, Mark Hamill involved and Rocksteady, seriously, man, I can't wait to play this. Bender, get in here, man. Tell me what you think about Batman in VR. Not just Batman, but Arkham Batman. Rocksteady Arkham Batman in VR.
I'm so there. Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna be like exactly either, but whatever it is, I'm in. I'm in on day one. If at all possible, I'm gonna be there playing that game.
I mean, this is just like nerd geek fantasy heaven that's going on right now. I mean, you go from an X-wing to being Batman in a VR game. Frankie, you have to be getting excited about VR now with some of these things they're trotting out.
Yeah.
There it is.
I want to see some of these in action, obviously, but
Yeah.
a lot of the things that they actually pretty much everything that they announced tonight in terms of VR related content, it sounds awesome. Like I would love to fly around in an X-wing. I'd love to beat the crap out of people as Batman. I am a little bit more sold on at least considering a PlayStation VR. I still want to see, some more concrete stuff. I would love to see Eve Valkyrie in action. That's one of the ones that I am really excited about. I know people who have the Rift love it. So, and so far that has been like the tentpole VR experience. So I do want to see that thing in action on the PlayStation VR at some point. But as far as VR goes, from somebody who really could have cared less about it a year ago, it was cool showing.
Yeah, and as far as we know, I think Eve's going to be a launch title for PlayStation VR. Not 100% sure on that, but I know it's due to come to the system. And they weren't done with VR there. They just threw out one more. Like, hey, how about Final Fantasy 15 in VR? Sure, why not, Sony? Why not give us this awesome looking game that we can jump into in VR? And it's not just playing like the third person Final Fantasy in VR. You're actually in the shoes of one of the characters in the game. His name's Prompto, and Benny said he's the blonde haired guy in the group. So you get to jump into Prompto and just hop into battles and fight these beasts. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know more to say about this. Just this just sounds awesome. And you guys have anything to add to Final Fantasy 15, the VR experience?
No, it looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, it looked pretty rad.
I mean, just jumping in there, I'm imagining you'll be able to like use magic and wield swords, and there's guns in there that you use. I mean, just all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, man, really pumped to try out VR for myself. I just get more and more juiced about it. Um, then we jumped into a game we weren't quite sure what it was
No.
when it first started playing. Like first, there's people on a like some type of a space station in a hangar. There's a character walking through talking about various things. Eventually, this character hops into a spaceship. They shoot off into space, and they're in there doing battles with people. And eventually, they land on a space station, and then jump out. It's a first-person game. At this point, we realize this is Call of Duty: Infinite Warfare. So it took us a few minutes to figure this out because Brent, like you were saying, this didn't look like a Call of Duty game at first.
No.
In fact, we guessed 3 or 4 different games. Like, hey, is this Riggs? Is this Hawken? Is this Eve Valkyrie? We couldn't figure it out until they actually got on the ground. The person jumped out of the jet, and then we're like, okay, this is definitely Call of Duty: Infinite Warfare. And this was a pretty sick demo. We saw snippets of space combat. We saw the ability to jump in and out of your spaceship. We saw the melee combat, the scorpion get over here thing that you have, the grappling hook
Yeah.
you can pull people in with. We saw that the anti-gravity grenades, some of the like cool like sci-fi stuff you're gonna have at your disposal. This was a pretty cool showing for Call of Duty, quite honestly. Frankie, what were your thoughts on Infinite Warfare, man?
When I can't tell I'm watching a Call of Duty game, they're probably doing something right.
Boom.
And yeah, just the space battle stuff they had, it looked phenomenal. Like for a split second, I was pretty sure we were watching Eve Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
That's again, that's so, and even that I know like they've been talking about a Call of Duty VR experience. So again, if you're gonna let me fly around in space and have space battles in Call of Duty in VR, that's pretty freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But even
Yeah.
just like them like messing around with the anti-gravity stuff, whipping around through space with that grapple, pulling guys towards you. There's that one guy like slapped a mine onto and then drop kicks him away. Man, there was a lot of really cool things in there, and this is the first time I can say this since like seeing Kevin Spacey in there. But this is the first time like the Call of Duty gameplay itself has really excited me since Modern Warfare 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah, definitely. Bender, as someone who doesn't typically play the franchise, but is a little more apt to jump into it now that it's in a sci-fi setting. What were your thoughts on this trailer, man?
I thought it was a really fast-paced, intense trailer, man. It was
Mhm.
it was super cool looking. I've never played a Call of Duty game. It's never interested me before, but this one actually looks pretty good. I mean, I might have to jump into this one, and yeah, I mean, it looks awesome to me.
There was Brent, there was some confusion as to whether or not this was in VR or whether this
Yeah.
is going to entail a VR experience. It came at the tail end of the VR section, and like we've mentioned earlier, presenters on this show, so just kind of moving from game to game.
Yeah.
So there was kind of a little bit of an extended pause after the Final Fantasy 15 VR demo. So it kind of makes you think like maybe they were moving into a new section. But we've heard rumblings that there could be a VR experience in this Infinite Warfare trailer. So or this Infinite Warfare game. So I mean, how cool would that be? And what were your thoughts overall on what they showed to us?
Yeah, that was a real confusing. I mean, there was no segue to kind of lead you into Call of Duty. It was just like here's Final Fantasy and like no intro, like okay, and that's it for VR. So we went into it. I thought it was Eve Valkyrie, like Frankie said.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, all right, this is a cool looking VR game. I'd play this. And then as we're playing more and more, and I didn't realize it until long after you guys did. I mean, I was sitting watching, I'm like, what is this? And then Call of Duty comes up. I'm like, no way. And that's where it hit me. I was like, if this doesn't look like a Call of Duty game, they're doing something right. I mean, I seriously did not guess. I mean, at times I was like going, man, it looks like a little bit like Call of Duty, but this isn't Call of Duty. This has to be something else because I was in the mindset that this was VR. But even then, if it wasn't VR, I would have never said, oh, this is Call of Duty. That game looked awesome. Like, I'm not joking. I mean, I was skeptical of Infinite Warfare. I was more excited for Modern Warfare. I am actually pretty excited to play the campaign in this game. I don't know how the multiplayer will be, but this doesn't look like your typical Call of Duty game, and I am glad. I'm glad this looks like something different. The space combat looked awesome, both in ship and out of ship. It just this looked really intense and super fun. I'm actually pretty excited for Infinite Warfare now.
Yeah. And this is and once again, man, this is a very busy time during the few weeks around when this game comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got all Titanfall and Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty and Last Guardians in there now, and there's other games in there now as well. So it's going to be a very busy time at that end of October, beginning of November time period, especially for shooter fans. Something else they threw in there. They threw in a little trailer for Modern Warfare Remastered again.
Yep.
And at the end there, they mentioned that the campaign is going to be 30 days early on the PlayStation 4. So we're not quite sure what this means. If this means that maybe the multiplayer portion of the game will be playable on whatever system you pick the game up on launch day, but the campaign won't be unlocked for 30 days. Not sure how that works. No idea at this point, but that's what we can infer, at least right now, that when you buy Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Modern Warfare Remastered, the campaign portion of it will be playable first on PlayStation 4 systems.
See, the way I took it, and maybe I'm wrong, I thought what it meant was like if you pre-order the game, you're obviously going to get Modern Warfare, but you'll get the campaign 30 days before launch. That was my understanding of it. That you get the campaign early. That way, everyone plays the.
It could be, yeah. It could be that I misunderstood what was written on there. So
yeah, and I'm not totally sure, but that was my understanding of it. But it could be something else.
We'll have to see. In that case, it would have to be a digital download, not tied to the disc, which there's been some confusion about that as well.
Right.
So yes, I guess all will be revealed in due time here. Then after Call of Duty, we got this fun little music started playing by the orchestra. This big colorful display came on the stage, and it took me a second, but then I was like, it's unmistakable. That's the Crash Bandicoot theme. So Sean Layden comes back on stage, and he officially confirms Big Frankie's prediction that Crash will not come back in a brand new game, but in a remaster of the first 3 games, the Naughty Dog games. Will be full-on remasters. These are not like PS2, PS1 upgrades. These are full-on, like ground-up remasters of Crash 1, 2, and 3. They'll be out next year, exclusively on the PlayStation 4. Frankie, take your moment of glory to gloat.
Absolutely nailed it.
Nailed it.
That was
We're never
awesome.
gonna hear the end of this now.
Oh my god, I know.
We still got a year before this game comes out. We're never gonna hear the end of this.
Nope.
We'll talk about this more on Saturday.
There you go. I like it.
Bender, you're one of our resident Crash fans like myself. How excited are you, man, to see these games reemerge in a full-on remastered state?
I'm excited. It's been so long since I played those games. And I don't know for sure if I've played 2 or 3. Or at least maybe a little bit, but I mean, one.
Crash 2 is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I may have played it a little bit, but I barely remember. It's been so long, so it'll be like playing new games anyway. I mean, it's been too long since I played those games, but I'm excited about that. It's really cool. I love Crash games. They're a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to playing them again.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot 2, one of my all-time favorite PlayStation 1 games. Crash Bandicoot 3, awesome as well. So I'm excited to see Crash come back. I love that dude, man. Especially his commercials back in the day. Those were awesome. Brent, what do you think about Crash coming back, man?
I guess
Just finally gonna give the fans what they want.
Well, here's my question, and I know you guys have played them. Like Crash 1, 2, and 3. I mean, do you have to play 1 to enjoy 2 more, and
No.
so on and so? Because that was my biggest concern. I was like, man, I know they're gonna make. We were talking maybe there's a new Crash Bandicoot game. And I was like, well, that'd be cool, but I've never played the originals. I played a little bit of the first one, but I never played them all the way through to completion. So I mean, I'm even more excited to get these remasters of the older ones, so I can actually play through the story. So in the event that maybe there is a new Crash Bandicoot somewhere down the line, I'll at least be able to have played through the other ones to enjoy those, to get an idea, of the stories that played out in those 3 games.
Yeah, and this is going to give people an opportunity to put their money where their mouth is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're out here clamoring for a Crash Bandicoot remake, you want a new Crash Bandicoot game, you must go out and purchase the Crash remaster.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, we'll never see a brand new Crash game. That's because to me that's what this is. This is going to be a test ground. Like, look, we're hearing a lot of chatter about Crash Bandicoot, about people wanting this game. So let's go out, let's remaster these first 3 games. We won't put a full on new game production together for this title, but let's remaster these first 3. Let's see how it does, and then we can go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if people put their money where their mouth is and vote with their wallet and go out there and buy these games so that we can get an actual Crash remaster. I'll be there buying it at least on day one, so you don't have to worry about that. From Crash, we just a quick reminder too. Crash will be in Skylanders Imaginators exclusively on PlayStation. So I'll be buying that figure strictly for my children. So
Right.
I know
sure.
they're gonna really get into that game. So being the loving father figure that I am,
So
I'll,
thoughtful.
yeah, I'm gonna take care of him on that. So we
Because they
got Crash.
totally know who Crash is. They're big Crash fans, those
Dude,
kids.
they are, man. They just don't know it yet.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
don't know it. So Crash being Skylanders Imaginators. Then we saw a very cool trailer for Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I don't know about you guys, but I think this game looks rad, man. The humor that we saw and that the initial trailer for this game, one of the all-time great trailers. The one that spoofs the Force Awakens trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Just such an awesome trailer. I love that. This game looks like a ton of fun. The Lego Millennium Falcon. I mean, seriously, just doesn't get much cooler than that. Any guys looking to pick up this game? Are any guys Lego fans? Lego game fans?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this looks like it's gonna be a really good one. The other thing, demo available right now. So when you're done listening to us yammer around here, get on the PlayStation 4, download the Lego Star Wars demo now, test out a couple weeks before it comes out. Fellas, then we moved into our next surprise of the show. Andy House comes on stage simply to introduce Mr. Hideo Kojima.
Uh-oh.
There was some chatter that maybe he would make an appearance. Many of us thought, no way, it's way too early for Hideo to show us anything on this game. So Kojima comes out. Not only does he have something to show, but he tells us this is all running in real time on in-game assets, and he busts out a full-on cinematic trailer with Norman Reedus in it. It's just like, dude, wouldn't you put this together? So you literally just made your studio. So he's already got the game. It's called Death Stranding. He's already got the concept for it. He's already got Norman Reedus casting the lead actor role. He's already in there filming scenes. Like, man, this thing is moving. But Frankie, what'd you think of this trailer, man? I mean, once again, just a beautiful looking trailer that Kojima trotted out here.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see that he had anything ready already. Like you said, it's like he just
Mhm.
got his freedom not too long ago from the clutches of Konami.
I like how he came out on stage too.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hello, I'm back" or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm back.
I'm back. I'm free.
Yeah,
Even just like his entrance, that was epic.
it was.
Man.
It was epic.
But yeah, what we saw, I was surprised to see Norman Reedus. I was maybe thinking, okay, maybe he's gonna take some of the ideas he had for Silent Hills, and we'll see them in this. That could still very well be the case. Who knows?
Mhm.
But definitely a very unsettling vibe to it. Like I know Bender mentioned earlier, I'm not totally sure what I watched, but I'm very interested in whatever that thing is gonna be.
At Bender, at the end of that trailer, we see like these 5 dudes like floating in the sky in the distance. They're just kind of sitting there. They're like these omniscient, godlike creatures that are bearing down on Norman here. What were your thoughts on what we saw from Death Stranding here, dude?
It's very bizarre. I mean,
Yeah.
it was. I didn't know what exactly I was watching. I mean, with the handprints appearing in the sand and like all the
Mhm.
like ink on his hands or whatever. But I will say that it was intriguing. So even though I had no idea what it was, I was definitely interested in learning more about it and stuff, finding out what kind of game this is, and what the story is about and everything. So it was very intriguing for sure.
Yeah, and I think that was pretty much the whole point of this, is just to kind of stir up some talk about this game. Just let them know, like, look, I'm here. I'm working on this game. I've even got something to show you already. something for you to get excited about. I mean, Brent, it's striking to look at one of these games, and when you can look at an actor and just see his likeness like represented in a game like this. I mean, there's butt naked Norman Reedus right there, looking like butt naked Norman Reedus, and he's got some type of a baby connected to him via an umbilical cord. I mean, there's like Bender said, there's some strange, artistic stuff going on in this trailer that we don't quite understand. There's no question that this is intriguing from one of the great minds of video games. What are your thoughts on Death Stranding?
Oh man, I was really intrigued by it, and like you guys said, it has all the hallmarks of a Hideo Kojima trailer. I mean, it doesn't give you a whole lot, but it's artistically beautiful, and it's got a striking image. And I really did. I liked how they were able to motion capture like Norman's emotions when he picked up that baby. You know, it was just some really great like graphics and how it looked. So, I mean, that looked really cool. And then, of course, like you said, you got these 5 beings that are just floating off in the distance. And, that's just a Hideo Kojima trailer for you. I mean, it looks cool. It's intriguing, but it gives you absolutely nothing to go on. All it does is spark interest, and it gets people talking, and I think he succeeded with that.
Yeah. So we don't know how far off this game is. We don't know when we might see this game. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see this sooner than we thought. I mean, when this was originally announced, we were like, man, we're not going to see this game for like 5 years. But at the tail end of the PS4 life cycle. But, maybe he brought some assets over from Konami. Maybe this is something he's been thinking about for a while. He's been working on. Who knows, man? But
and this is the game that draws inspiration from The Division and with the Last of Us or Uncharted.
The Uncharted, yeah, that's what he said.
So I mean, if you take that trailer and think of all the possibilities, inspired by The Division or the Uncharted. I mean, that just gets your mind going. I mean, it leaves so much open for interpretation and for people to just imagine what this guy's cooking up.
I didn't even think about that too. That he had mentioned that recently. So
Yeah.
you put that together with this, yeah. It's a strange brew for sure. And then you think about like the logo for Kojima Productions, this Ludens character,
Yep.
who appears to have some type of a link to this game as well. So all kinds of intriguing stuff going on from the mind of Hideo Kojima, and I'm sure that'll just continue. This is going to get more and more mysterious as the months and years roll on until this game eventually comes out. That's the Kojima way. So cool to see Hideo on stage in all of his freedom. And then from there, we moved into one of my favorite moments of the night. We saw my man Spider-Man make an appearance, which we talked about, and there he is on Bender's microphone, making a live appearance. Spider-Man himself. Say hello, Peter. So we got a brand new Spider-Man game, a Spider-Man game not from Sucker Punch,
Wow.
like we anticipated, but a Sucker Punch game from Insomniac.
Yeah.
Wow. An exclusive PlayStation 4 Spider-Man Insomniac game will be coming to the platform. I'm guessing sometime next year. We didn't get any release date or anything from it, but man, I was juiced. What little we saw of this looked freaking sweet. When he's flipping through that diner or whatever that thing was, taking out everybody, and he jumps out that window and starts web swinging away, I was like, man, just punch me right now. So that was super odd moment. The comic book fan of me just could barely contain myself as we have a Batman VR and a PlayStation Spider-Man game in the same breath. Bender, talk to me about the Spider-Man game, dude.
Yeah, it looked awesome. It wasn't Sucker Punch like I had predicted. But it's still. I'm still gonna play it. I'm still gonna love it. I'm sure. Love Spider-Man games. When they're done right, they're really, really good. So I'm he's my favorite superhero. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing a really good Spider-Man game.
Yeah, he's one of my faves too, and it's something that Marvel has talked about recently about not just kind of making these like crap license games anymore. Like they kind of want to go the Batman Arkham route. So this is moving towards that type of a model, getting Insomniac involved, making an exclusive game so they can really focus on the platform right now and deliver like an awesome Spider-Man game for PlayStation 4. Frankie, Insomniac, that's a developer that you hold a lot of respect for. All of us respect greatly. So how excited are you that they're developing a PlayStation 4 exclusive Spider-Man game?
Dude, Insomniac and Sucker Punch are two of my absolute favorite developers. Wherever either of them had a game coming out, I was going to have that system. So knowing that Insomniac is making a new Spider-Man game, the Spider-Man games over the past couple years have been getting better until the Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, but we got to talk about that. But this new one, just the attitude of Peter Parker swinging around the city, and I assume that was gameplay that we saw, right? I mean,
I assume, yeah. It didn't
it,
look like a cinematic.
yeah. So it looks cool. It has a really great art style. I'm gonna be really curious to see when this thing comes out. I'm gonna guess it'll be around when the movie does, but
Hmm.
you can't go wrong with Insomniac making a Spider-Man game. Holy crap!
Yeah, yeah. So the other cool thing, Brent, is this frees up Sucker Punch
Yeah.
to do something else now. So we not only do we get the Spider-Man PS4 game, but we get Sucker Punch freed up to do something else now. Whether that's a new Infamous or a new IP that they're working on, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But, give me your thoughts on the Spider-Man trailer, dude.
Oh man, I thought it was great, and I was shocked to see Insomniac. And I know
Mhm.
we were talking about it on the podcast. We were worried about who was developing in this. Would this be a licensed game? And when you talk Insomniac, you don't just flip them a game and say, "Hey, kick out a licensed game in 6 months, and it's going to be crap." I mean, and let's look at their history with licensed products. They made Ratchet and Clank game. That movie bombed, but the game was awesome. So even if the next Spider-Man movie bombs, Insomniac's going to come through in the clutch on the game, so we're good.
There you go. Logic with Brent Felsen.
At least
Yeah.
maybe not logic, but I'm just trying to reassure people that this is more than likely going to be a fantastic game from a fantastic developer.
I'm really curious how this deal came about. Like I hope somebody puts a story out there about
Uh-huh.
how this all came to be, how Insomniac got involved with this, how Sony ended up getting an exclusive on Spider-Man, like how all this worked out. I'll be really interested
Mhm.
if somebody's able to track down that story. But super pumped about this. I mean, anytime I can get one of my Spider-Man is one of my favorite heroes too, Bender. Anytime I can get one of my favorites in an awesome video game, that's just music to my ears. um, and finally, the Sony conference ended by going back to Days Gone, giving us a little bit of an extended gameplay trailer for the game.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things when they first showed the game, I was like, man, I really wanted to see some gameplay from us. They came back at the end, ended the show with the gameplay segment. So we see Days Gone. We have the biker setting that we had. There's a post-apocalyptic world here, some type of zombie creature infestation in this world. There's a very Last of Us vibe to this game as the characters walking around as I was watching the game. But it's definitely different though. As the character gets going and he starts playing, and then you get swarmed on by this horde of zombie like creatures that end up looking like something out of World War Z. If
Mhm.
anybody's seen that movie or read that book, where just these hordes are just pouring in these windows and doorways and just barreling down on you at just a ridiculous rate. And I don't know. I thought this trailer was really intense, especially as we got towards the end. He's fighting off the last of this horde, and he's going down this bridge trying to eliminate the last dude. And I don't know. I thought it was intense. This game looks like it could be really cool. Frankie, talk to me about Days Gone.
I was I wasn't really fully expecting what this thing was. Like I hear zombie game, and you think of every other zombie game. The zombies are sure there's gonna be a lot of them, but they're just gonna
Mhm.
slowly saunter towards you.
Yeah,
But holy crap, man, this dude is looking for his buddy. What, Two Chains? I don't know what the
Two
dude's
Dog.
name.
yeah.
Two Dogs.
Two Dog.
So he finds this-
Two Dog ends up having a real bad day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
idiot. You tackle him.
Yeah.
The first thing you do is fall down there with him and alert him.
Yeah.
Real smart.
Yeah.
So but yeah, man, watching him try to fight these dudes off, like he gets somewhere, you see just a mountain of them come pouring through
Yeah.
another entrance somewhere. It's like, dude, this dude is not gonna have a good day. So you're like it's like closing doors. You see him like bust through. Seems
Yeah.
like there's even more of them just piling on top of each other to get to you.
Mhm.
He's back there mowing down as many as he can. He gets some explosion, take a little bit of them out, but just no matter what he's doing, it seems like there's just this never-ending amount of them just piling towards him. So when he finally was heading down that bridge at the end, I was surprised that there was actually an end of him, at least at that trail. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be really curious to see what the hell this is, but that looked intense.
Yeah. Really intense. And that's the thing that struck me too. Is like these aren't just your meandering, like slow These are full on sprinting massive hordes of World War Z style zombies. They're just barreling down on you. And it looks like this is kind of a dynamic situation where you just kind of have to figure out how to use the environment to your advantage the best way you can. Like, do I go out this door? Do I jump out this window? Do I burn this section of them here? Do I shoot these guys? Like, there's a lot of gameplay variation I could see in when one of these hordes is barreling down on you. So
Right.
yeah, just really intense stuff. Bender, I know you're not a zombie guy or get into these like really intense violent games. Days Gone. Tickle you at all?
It was a cool trailer.
Hmm.
I'm sure it's going to be a great game, but like you're saying, I can't get into zombies. It's just not my thing. I probably won't try this game out, but it definitely was a cool trailer. It definitely was intense, like Frankie was saying. So I'm sure you guys will enjoy it.
Brent, we finally got to see what Sony Ben's been working on. Talk to me about this Days Gone gameplay trailer, bud.
It's not Siphon Filter. No, I'm
Oh,
just joking.
bring
uh,
back Gabe.
yeah, I was talking to you about it before we did the show, and
Hmm.
I've been sitting here thinking about it. I mean, it was an impressive looking game. Seeing all those zombies on the screen at once come, barreling down after you, and the music was super intense. I mean, that's what I
Yeah,
was thinking. I was like, this is what got me most like jazzed about it. Like, I was just like, it was so intense, but at the same time, I
it's
was just like,
building and
yeah,
building and
building,
building
building.
until that end scene there.
And at when it was done, I was just like, man, they didn't really blow me away. And then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, maybe I'm just exhausted from this entire show, where I'm just like, okay, I can't deal with zombies right now. I'm trying to, make sense of everything I just saw tonight. But I'll go back and watch it again. I mean, like I said, there were some elements to it that were really, really cool. We talked about, we kind of got like a Last of Us vibe. This guy's alone, trying to survive, find people that he knows. I mean, it doesn't look like him and Two Dog were on too good of friends at that point. But like I said, the most impressive thing in terms of like the game running was just seeing all those zombies, like you said, pouring over one another, just a nonstop rush. So I mean, I
Hmm.
can see where the elements would be, how this game could be really intense. I'm curious to see what kind of, if you can approach these areas, make your way through without setting off any zombies. I want to know if there's kind of like
Like some
some
stealth.
stealth
Yeah.
elements in there. So. But
Hmm.
overall, I mean, it's a good looking game. It's not the one that blew me away from the whole show, but it's promising. And like I said, I'm just going to say I was just exhausted, fatigued from the entire show before they went back to it.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think that's really the most interesting part of this is we've seen tons of zombie games in the past, but I don't remember any that quite tackled the zombie apocalypse like this
Hmm.
with these this. I mean, seriously, there's like hundreds and hundreds of these things in this group just pouring in this building, like chasing after you. And man, that just looks frightening and intense. And I'm really curious to see more of Days Gone. And fellas, that brought us to the end of the Sony conference. My
Ugh.
gosh, that was an hour. This was an hour. An hour. Everything we just talked about was laid out to us over the course of an hour. Frankie, sum up this conference for me, man. What are your final thoughts on the Sony conference?
As I said before, this was their best show in a long time for me, in my opinion. I mean they usually do put on a pretty good show. Last year was I was one of the few I was not very impressed with, but dude, just the lack of having people up there droning on about stuff we already know about, just boom, 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 boom. That's how a press conference should be. Sony absolutely nailed it with their presentation this year. I am super excited about pretty much everything that we saw. Like that was easily for me like the highest of the day. So
Hmm.
that was awesome.
Bender, sum up this conference for me.
I agree with Frankie. It was one of their best ever. They were not messing around this year. Just one thing after another, just showing one exciting thing after another. Spider Man was amazing. The Last Guardian looked great. Horizon continues to impress me. I love that they didn't do a bunch of like off camera, like off screen panning shots of the audience like the other press conferences keep doing.
Yeah.
That always gets annoying. They stayed on the action. They showed us what we wanted to see, and it was just one great thing after another. So it was a really great conference. Definitely the best of show this year.
They implemented that sidebar to which I thought was a great idea. It's like, sure, you
Mhm.
can show us the crowd and stuff. Just put the little sidebar on there. Show the guy playing the game. Show the crowd. It eliminates all that stuff, and we can focus on the action. Like, why didn't people think about this years ago?
Yeah. Everyone
Seems so
needs to do
simple.
that from
Yeah,
now on. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
everyone. Because if
Seems
you
like
okay,
such a simple solution.
If you insist on showing a guy with a controller in his hands, just so we'll know he's an actual guy playing it, show him on the side. We'll know he's there, and we can see the actual gameplay trailer on the main screen.
Yep.
So yeah, that was I really appreciated that.
Yeah, Brent, we've had a chance to catch our breath here, man. Sum up the Sony press conference for me, man.
Excellent. It was a great show. I mean, it was a great show on a day we've had a lot of good shows. I mean, it was just it was a perfect end of the day. And I mean, we saw so much stuff. We saw so many games, and it was like you said, in an hour, it was just breakneck pacing. No, we had 3 people on stage. We had Sean Layden, Hideo Kojima, and our boy
Andy House.
Andy House. We had 3 people on stage this entire time. If there was one thing that was just kind of like, but I guess this is just the way that PlayStation's going, man. The focus is on PlayStation 4. It's on PlayStation VR. Obviously, we didn't see anything with Vita. We had very little in terms of indies.
Yeah.
But I mean, we still know these titles are coming. They're doing a good job of promoting these games. So are the developers themselves. But I mean, this was just. You never had a chance to just sit back and relax and really overthink the conference. It was just boom, boom, boom. I mean, seriously, in the first 20 minutes, we had God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Detroit, Days Gone, and what am I missing?
The Last Guardian.
The Last Guardian. And then it was just nonstop. I mean, I got everything I wanted. I saw first-party titles. I saw VR content that I'm really interested, that I'm comfortable with making my purchase on VR. And I got to see the third-party stuff. I mean, that's how you do a press conference. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys know. I mean, this was an all-timer. Microsoft put on a really strong conference at the beginning of this day. I was like, man, that was a good show. So I was wondering how Sony was going to match it. Well, I guess this is how they come out and they do a show like this, just a rapid fire, just game tour de force. It was incredibly fun to watch. It was really exciting as it was just exciting to see all the cool stuff that they had to display. And it's almost like they knew the kind of conference that Microsoft was going to put on. They're like, all right, we're going to have to combat this. We're going to have to come out guns blazing with the best that we can put up, and they did that. And this is gonna, like I said, this is gonna go down as an all-timer, one of the all-time great press conferences from E3. So that's gonna do it for the reaction show. Thanks to everybody for watching, following along. Please follow us on Twitter at The Short Pause. Please be excited. Go to the website, www.shortpause.com. We'll be continuing our E3 coverage on there throughout the week. Twitter handles right above us here. Follow us there as well. Brent, what else do the people need to know?
Tomorrow night, make sure you're subscribed to the original Next Level Gaming podcast on YouTube. We'll be doing a joint show with Mike Mullis, doing a wrap-up of E3, talking about what we saw these last couple of days. So make sure you follow us on there. And then also, visit our website, www.shortpause.com. Go right to the right-hand side, E3 Central. We'll have everything, press conferences, reaction videos, podcasts, everything. We'll have everything you want from E3 on one page.
Nice. And then we'll have, of course, our wrap-up show. We'll be recording this weekend as we look back on E3 in its totality, kind of process everything that we saw this past week. But make sure you're subscribed to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, or TuneIn Radio. And that's going to do it for us tonight. Been a hell of a day, but it's been an exciting day, that's for sure. And glad Sony was able to end it right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I just want to say one more thing, and I don't mean to cut you off. For those of you that are watching, I want you to know these three guys here bring their A game every single time. They do fantastic work. It's not easy. I mean, I know it's not like being at E3 where you're actually running around to these conferences and it's just sensory overload. Having to cover the E3 like this all day long, it takes a toll on people. And these guys have lives, they have families, and it's not easy. But these three guys are fantastic. They bring their A game. They're passionate. They're dedicated guys. Thank you guys for your efforts today. Awesome stuff.
Well, thank you, sir, and the same goes to you, man. I mean, we're all in this boat together. You're putting in the same amount of work that we are. So, one big happy working Short Pause family here on our last reaction video of the day. So, once again, thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned to the website. Follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you guys next time. Good night,
everybody.
Good night, Spidey.